Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into an ancient mystery deep from the Amazon that could seriously hold the key to a healthier future. We're talking about a lost technology for creating super soil. Rediscovering it could empower our communities from a small pueblo all the way to your own backyard to build real food sovereignty right from the ground up.
Okay, let's just dive right in. On one side, you have the typical soil you find in the Amazon. It's this yellowish red clay, really poor in nutrients. It becomes totally barren after just one or two harvests. But then, look at the other side. You've got something that seems, well, impossible. It's called Terra Preta, or Black Earth. It's deep, dark, and stays incredibly fertile, not for a season, but for over 2,000 years.
For decades, scientists were completely stumped. The best guesses were ancient volcanoes or maybe some kind of sediment from old riverbeds. But the truth? It was way more revolutionary than that. This incredible soil wasn't natural at all. It was made. It was engineered. Yeah, so we now know that thousands of years ago, pre-Columbian civilizations were intentionally creating these patches of black earth. Think about that. They were literally engineering their environment, building a foundation of food security that could support huge, thriving populations in a place where modern farming struggles to get by.
And this wasn't just some clever gardening trick. This was a cornerstone of their civilization. It was a whole legacy of indigenous knowledge, a technology that fed millions and then was almost completely lost to history when those societies collapsed. So Asheka, what was the secret ingredient? How did they do it?
Well, the secret really comes down to one key ingredient. It's the absolute backbone of Terra Preta, a special kind of charcoal that we now call biochar.
Now, this is not the result of that destructive slash and burn agriculture we hear about. That just creates a bunch of ash and degrades the land. No, this was slash and char, a totally different approach, a fundamentally regenerative process that actually builds up the soil for generations and generations.
This is probably the most important thing to get right. You can't just go dump charcoal in your garden and expect miracles. It's not a fertilizer on its own. In fact, raw biochar is kind of like a dry, empty sponge. If you put it straight into your soil, it'll actually suck the nutrients away from your plants at first. It has to be prepared. It needs to be charged.
So how does it work? It's pretty amazing. It acts like a nutrient magnet, a water sponge, and a micro-hotel, all at the same time. See, it's not the food for the plants, it's the permanent infrastructure for that whole underground ecosystem. Get this, just 1 single gram of this stuff can have the surface area of a tennis court. It's incredible.
Right, so you have to fill that sponge up first. And the absolute best way to do that is to just mix it right into a compost pile. As all that organic matter breaks down, the biochar just soaks up all that goodness. It becomes biologically active and ready to be a source of life in your garden, not a drain on it.
Okay, but why does this ancient technique matter so much for us today, especially for a small community, a pueblo? Well, it turns out the connection between the health of the ground beneath our feet and our own personal health, it is way more direct than you might think.
Modern industrial agriculture, with all its chemicals and heavy machinery, it's just hammered our soil ecosystems all over the world. It's the total opposite of the soil-building idea of Terra Preta. And this doesn't just threaten productivity, it threatens the very foundation of our food security.
The science on this is pretty clear. Over the last few decades of these practices, there's been a real, measurable drop in the nutrient density of our food. The same carrot your grandparents ate was probably way more nutritious than the one you can buy today. And here's the direct line. It all starts with unhealthy soil. That soil grows less nutritious food. And that food, in turn, can mess with our internal ecosystem, our gut microbiome, and ultimately contribute to us being unwell. So regenerating our soil is literally a direct path to regenerating our own health.
But here's the great news. This ancient wisdom is not lost forever. Not at all. We can actually recreate it in our own backyards, in our community gardens. We can empower our pueblos to grow their own healthy, nutrient-dense food and, really, to reclaim their food sovereignty.
So here's a super simple recipe to create your own Terra Preta Nova, a new black earth. It's all about combining that permanent biochar structure with all the rich organic nutrients and minerals that your local soil needs to really come alive.
But hey, you don't need to be an expert or even go out and buy biochar to start regenerating your soil, like right now. There are even simpler, traditional ways to build that fertility. This method, often called dig and drop or trench composting, is just incredibly effective, and it costs absolutely nothing.
You're creating these little pockets of fertility right where your plants need them the most, feeding the soil life directly under your crops. It's a simple, powerful way to recycle nutrients and build healthy soil.
All right, so let's zoom out again. What happens when an entire community starts to adopt these kinds of practices? Well, it becomes about so much more than just gardening. It becomes about consciously, intentionally building a new, more resilient future from the ground up.
Really, it's about a fundamental shift in how we think. Instead of focusing on short-term gains that exploit and deplete the land, the focus shifts to long-term fertility and resilience. It's a vision built on durability, on true wealth, which is the health of the land and the health of the community.
And this creates such a powerful positive feedback loop. Healthy soil leads to healthy, nutrient-dense food. That food nourishes healthy people, both physically and mentally. And those healthy people, in turn, build a strong, a resilient, a sovereign community, one that's empowered and truly prepared for the future.
You know, Terra Preta is living proof that human activity doesn't have to be destructive. It can be profoundly regenerative. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the keys to building a better future can be found by looking back and listening to the wisdom of the past.
Thanks for watching.